crafting friends. This video is coming to you on a snow day here in the mountains of North Carolina. It's not as much snow as they were calling for, but it is a snow day to say the least. And I am going to do a short video. It's going to be pretty quick, I think, on the framing of the chickadees that I showed in the last floss tube video that I stitched up for my mom. Here is one of them, and here is the other. You can see now the shapes of the boxes that they're going on. What I have done, here's the box. In case you were wondering what it looks like, it'll look like that. What I have done is I have put them in the center of where I want them to be on the frame, and then put the piece of wood in the back, and that's it. So there's nothing that has been permanently done in order to frame this yet, and that's what we'll do on this video. The back has been on these lids with the cross stitch fabric around them for a couple of days now in order to crease the sides of the fabric in, so that way I know exactly where I need to put it whenever I try to permanently put it on this piece of wood back here. So you can see I just popped that out, and where the piece has been in there, it's basically creased the fabric for me so that I can easily tell where it needs to be in order to be centered inside of the frame. This will go in here like this, and then I plan on having these turned in, glued, and then the piece of felt. I'm going to use the frame to trace onto the felt so that I have a shape that's a little bit smaller than what that piece of wood is for the back. And I already have a corner up here already cut for me, so I'm just going to trace this side and this side in order to have those dimensions to cut. And keep in mind that this is going on the back, and therefore we do not need it to be super perfect. It's okay if it's a little bit off. I just need it to be right where I'm going to cut. It doesn't need to be really dark, and it doesn't need to be solid. Okay, so that's what I'm going to cut for this shape. And then let me do the other one here real quick. These shapes are going to be a little bit smaller than what the piece of wood is, and yes, we can see that it'll completely cover it. That way we will have a small amount of the actual Aida fabric from the cross stitch, and then we will hopefully have the piece of felt glued right in there. The glue gun has been warming up, and I just have a little cheap glue gun. It's nothing special. I don't do a whole lot of hot glue, so which is strange for a crafter, I know. All I did off camera was trim the edges so that they weren't so huge. And now what I'm going to do with the corners is cut them kind of at a 45-degree angle coming down to the corner, but I don't want to cut all the way onto the corner because that raw edge of fabric, it might fray, and I really don't want that. So I'm just going to go not all the way into the corner, just almost. That'll be good. Same thing over here. And again, this is not going to be seen really because it's on the back or the inside of the box. Therefore, it is okay if it's not exactly perfect and measure it out exactly perfect. All right, I'm just going to continue that on all of the corners here. All right, now I'm going to hot glue the two long sides in and stretch the fabric as much as possible, so get it as tight as possible on there, just like that. A little hot glue booger there. If y'all are offended by the word booger, then you are on the wrong channel. Most definitely on the wrong channel. You could put the glue on the fabric as well, but it'd be easier for this. And then watch your fingers as you fold it over because it will go through that fabric. Just try to get it on there before it dries very much. Get it tight. And now it's a little bit cool, so I can push my fingers on it. If you've used a hot glue gun a ton of times and you're really used to it, then you probably would be fine with just sticking your finger right on that hot glue and it wouldn't burn you at all. That's sticking pretty good. You can see the front edge. Pull tight on that front edge. And come around this way. All right, we're gonna do it again. I'm pushing down with pressure on the table because I do not want that fabric to move underneath. Stay, don't move. Pulling it tight. I did get a little bit of it on my finger, but that's all right. I'm a tough girl, I can handle it. Oop. Hot, hot, hot. Pulling it tight. Very nice. One good thing about hot glue is if you know what you're doing before you put the glue on there, it dries really quick. You don't have to worry about it slipping or moving while the glue's trying to dry. These two sides are good. Now we're going to do the top and the bottom the same exact way. I'm going to do a tiny little dot on each corner, and if the fabric happens to fold over on that tiny little dot, then great. If not, it's no big deal. I'm not too worried about it. Just on the corner there, kind of fold it in, seal it off. Just going to hold it there until it dries. Doing this to the corners also reduces the chance of fraying because the edges of the fabric have glue on them. I have the piece of felt that I cut. Again, I cut it smaller. And I think we're just going to put that right on the back, just like that. You want to be a little bit quicker with your glue this time so that it doesn't dry before you get that whole area covered. All right, I am going to go ahead and put it in the back of the frame. It's tight in there, which is good. So that would be the inside of your box right there. And the outside of your box there. All right, now let's move on to the other shape. Same type of thing. I'm going to cut off the fabric of the corners so that we aren't overlapping and it's not as bulky. Because I left these in there for a few days, my creases are already made for me. I know exactly where that shape goes. First, I'm going to cut the excess fabric from around the shape so I don't have to deal with as much fabric whenever I'm folding in the sides. And then I'm going to cut the corners out while leaving a tiny bit of fabric on the edges of the shape. Again, just like the rectangular piece, I'm going to start on the long edges on the sides, and then I will finish with the smaller tabs and then the tiny little corners with the dot of glue on the corners of the wood in order to keep the fabric from fraying on the corners. Right, there we are. And now we'll put on our piece of felt. So I gotta be pretty quick with the glue gun here. Ta-da! So this will be the back of the frame. We'll go ahead and put it in there. If you would like more information on the cross stitch of the chickadees, you can check out my latest YouTube video, and it will be linked up top up here in that corner. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one, and have a wonderful January. I might have another video before the end of January, but probably not, just saying. Okay, so have a wonderful January 2021, and happy crafting.